Are you struggling to close deals? Cold outreach is wasting the time of both the buyer and seller at every stage, especially when sellers are using shallow and outdated data. Your organization can overcome these challenges with technology that translates comprehensive, high-quality buyer data into real-time insights. These deeper insights empower sales reps and teams to adopt the habits of top performers, which leads to better outcomes, like more pipeline, higher win rates, and larger deals. We call this deep sales. And we've built the first deep sales platform with the next generation of LinkedIn Sales Navigator. Right now, you can try LinkedIn Sales Navigator and get a 60-day free trial at linkedin.com/trial. That's linkedin.com/trial for a 60-day free trial. Let LinkedIn Sales Navigator help you sell like a superstar today. Just go to linkedin.com/trial and get started.
Hey guys, and welcome to Criminality Podcast, the podcast where we know loving reality TV is not a crime. In fact, we celebrate it over here on Criminality. I got an amen handshake hallelujah from Rebekah, so it is official. Rebekah, hi, how are you?
Yes, we celebrate it, especially on holidays and every day, really. Happy Labor Day to you and yours.
And that's what I was about to say, and yours. Yes, happy Labor Day to you and yours. Glad to not be in active labor today, but for those of you that are, push it real good.
And thank you.
Yeah, I don't know what's happening. Rebekah, how has your week been? Good? Great? Life good?
Yeah, everything is good. I love September and I love it more than January. Like, to me, the start of the new school year feels more like a fresh start than even a new calendar year. A la You've Got Mail. No, was it You've Got Mail? Yes. Tom Hanks says it's been a while, right? But he says to Meg Ryan that September makes him want to bring somebody a fresh bouquet of freshly sharpened pencils. And I love it.
Oh, I was like, when you said sharpened, I was like, flowers are sharpened. Roses,
I know.
thorns?
Yeah, that's the true crime brain in us. But no, just like school supplies, new calendars, like new notebooks. I love it. So I'm good. How about you?
Good. Rebekah, before we get started on our episode, you mentioned you weren't sure what was going on with my background. For those that see a clip of this, the background is the cast of Don't Worry, Darling, the upcoming movie that Olivia Wilde is directing, and it's full of drama. If this is a PR stunt, it is working because I want to see this movie so badly. So basically all I know right now is Olivia Wilde, who is seen next to, I'm not sure her name, but the guy is Chris Pine, who I didn't recognize at first. But Florence, is it Puff? Puff?
I don't know.
Pough. So
yeah, I thought it was Pu, but
I think that makes more sense. That makes much more sense than Florence Puff. I've only seen it written, and the only way I've heard her spoken about on TikTok is by Olivia calling her Miss Flo, which doesn't always seem like a nice name. But there was a recent video this week how Shia LaBeouf was in this movie originally in Harry Styles' place.
Okay.
And so the drama this week is that she says that she fired Shia LaBeouf. But Shia LaBeouf releases this video of her sending him a video message that says, Shia, blah, 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 blah. Let's see if we can work things out. See if Miss Flo will work with things and maybe we can get this to work. So basically rebutting her entire thing, which if Shia LaBeouf is calling you out, that's probably not a good week for you.
Yeah.
But then also Olivia Wilde during this time leaves Jason Sudeikis, heartthrob, Jason Sudeikis. Heartthrobs can be jerks, so whatever the reason is. But then she got with Harry Styles. You know they're together, right?
I don't think I did. I am not up.
Okay.
I've been in my own under the rock.
It's okay.
Tell me more.
Well, I mean, I don't know a lot more. I know that Jason Sudeikis served her with custody papers when she was like on
yes,
stage.
yes,
You know this,
yes,
yeah.
yes.
That was messy. Of course, he said that he didn't plan it that way, and I could see that. I could see them saying, "We know where she is. Let's do it." But messy, messy. So anyway, I don't know what's going on, but I know that Miss Flo, said she will not be doing any press other than I think this premiere for the movie, and so there's just drama. You know that like several people do not like each other in this. So anyway, that's all.
Well, it is PR and it is working because I didn't know any of what you just told me, but I've seen this image a million times. And I've been seeing it likened to like, it's as competitive as who's sitting next to Andy Cohen at a reunion, like the drama as to like how this lineup
Where
of cast.
is.
So it does make me intrigued. I do like a lot of the players in this, so I'm already intrigued.
Me too.
And I did know about Harry Styles and her.
Yeah.
I
knew
it
you
didn't
did.
stick. It didn't stick because I don't know
Nor
why.
should it, because I don't really get it. Nick
Yeah.
Kroll is in it, which I love Nick Kroll, and nobody's remembered that he's in it because of all this mess.
Right. So yeah, we've got lots of reasons to look at that. That's exciting and something to look forward to and watch.
I know.
Unlike what I've got in my background today, which I was just going off one of your clues and had to dig up a Kim Kardashian archive from the archives. A look before, I guess she had a stylist or a good one.
Oof.
She's rocking the
Yeah, was this before Kim or before Kanye became her stylist?
This was before Kanye would probably give her the time of day. This is complete with like an olive green trucker hat. So, you know, it's, this is Ed Hardy peak Ed Hardy, early
Ed Hardy.
aughts, I guess. I don't know, but
Rough days. We've all been through it.
So
I
true.
didn't go through it, but like I thought it was cool, the people that did. I thought there was a time when I thought that this was the style, and I was jealous I did not have Ed Hardy money.
I see that's
You were better
the
than
thing.
this. I get it.
No, I don't know how to say this. I didn't ever like it. And I looked at it going like, that looks stupid, but it's expensive. So like, should I?
Right.
Like I felt like hoodwinked, like into thinking, I guess it's cool because like, you know, everyone's wearing it that has money to spend on clothes. But it always just like reeked of like people who wouldn't get a tattoo, but like wanted to wear tattoo like
Maybe
art
that's
on
why
their
I was
clothes.
attracted to
Like
it.
I don't know. I just thought it was so weird. It just like didn't make sense to me.
No, that is a perfect description of this. And quite honestly, it's kind of the perfect description of the person that we're speaking about today.
Oh my gosh.
The human form of a tattoo. Maybe that you would regret too. But this week's story is a tale as old as time. Boy meets girl at a company picnic. Boy and girl fall in love and get married. Girl has PCOS and uses IVF to get pregnant, and the newlyweds have twin daughters. Boy doesn't want any more kids, but girl really wants just one more. So they go for it. Boy and girl have sextuplets. Boy and girl get TV show, America Falls in Love with Them, the end. We're done with the story. Just kidding.
Well, that'd be nice.
Yeah. Would have saved me a lot of research. The end, though, is where we are starting today. And honestly, what we see today is totally different than what we saw years ago. So, Rebekah, you know we're talking about Jon and Kate Plus 8, specifically Jon Gosselin. What is your relationship to Jon and Kate Plus 8, this whole franchise?
Yeah, I think like a lot of people, I think I watched for sure, but
Right.
not, I don't have any, you know, cemented memories specifically of the show. Their tension, always pretty palpable.
Yeah.
I can remember like the finished basement where they would film like the confessional type of thing and kind
Right,
of this
right.
like gradual moving further apart from each other onto different sides of the
Right,
couch.
on
I
the
don't-
couches?
Am I making that up or is that
No,
real?
100%.
Okay.
By the last season, it's like, boom,
Practically in
like totally
different rooms.
different. They were practically in different zip codes by that point.
Yes.
We'll get into all of that, but yes, that is it. So if I just said Kara, Maddie, Alexis, Hannah,
Colin?
Leah, Colin, Joel, Aiden, like, you know
can't
all the
believe-
names.
Yeah, I was wondering how many I knew. I didn't know as many as that.
I was
but
going to quiz you, but when you said that, I was like, I don't know. Sorry.
No, that's okay. I probably knew half of them. But yeah,
Yeah.
there's like, it it's like part and parcel with a baby story. It's like you can't help but watch. There's something about like someone having a baby that's so mundane and yet so interesting, but then to have 6 at one time and you already have 2, it's a fascination. And then the names and you're watching them grow in real time. I don't know. It's hard not to look.
They were so cute.
They were so cute.
It was. And then especially in the beginning when it's like this pure television, right? So like they're very, I mean, we'll get into it, but their personalities, like Kate has a very dynamic personality, Jon not so much. But then the little kids, like it was just kind of, it would always end on a good note. There was never like a cliffhanger and it was, you know, watch this kid go to the doctor tomorrow and see what happens next. It was never anything like that. It was just like a day in the life. And so there's like something very soothing to me about that kind of show. And I know you too, if you watch The Baby Story, if you watch any of those, like it's like complete at the end of the episode. It's done and you can move on with your life.
Right.
But today I'm going to introduce you to these 2 people. The first one being Jon Gosselin and the second one being Kate Kreider. So Jon is born and raised in Wisconsin. He's the middle of 3 children from a Korean-American family, and he graduates high school in 1995. In 1997, he's working at this hotel. They have a company picnic, and he goes to it. At this picnic, one of his friends comes and brings their friend, who's a nurse, Kate Kreider. And so Kate and Jon meet each other, and immediately they know that there's something there. They just are attracted to each other. And I remember seeing on the show clips of them like from their honeymoon and stuff, like just talking. It was so gross. Like they were so
all over
icky,
each other?
all over.
Oh,
yeah,
like affectionate. Like
yes, like wild to see Kate kind of being like, Jon, you're just the most amazing man in the world. And you're like,
wow,
what possessed her? Not because he was so terrible in these videos or anything, but because she never speaks to him like that. So the couple click, and apparently Jon was like kind of seeing someone before this. The next day he calls that person and is like, not doing this anymore. And he decides to pursue a relationship with Kate.
Fair.
So at this point, Kate's 22 and Jon is 20. And I feel like the older I get, the younger that sounds, right?
Oh, it sounds
the babies.
Dreadfully young. Yeah. Like at this point, they could be my kid.
Now that was rough. I think physically, yes, they could be my kid, but my kids just aren't quite there yet. But
yeah,
that was very rough for me to hear for you.
Yeah, it wasn't fun to say out loud, but
no,
here we are.
Acceptance is the first step. Well, it's the last, but you're there, so that's good.
Great.
So Jon and Kate, Kate's 22, Jon is 20. They are mere BBs, and 2 years later, they get married in this small wedding at a friend's house in Pennsylvania, where I guess they must have met in Pennsylvania. I'm unsure when Kate was actually diagnosed with PCOS, which is polycystic ovarian syndrome.
Oh, okay.
It's a condition that can make it difficult, if not impossible, to conceive naturally. So the couple choose to seek out IVF treatments right away, basically, when they get married. And Kate becomes pregnant with twin girls in 1999. And so Maddie and Kara are born in 2000, which also makes them 22 now. They could also be your kids.
They may as well be. I feel like I have a million. It's only 3, but it's like, why not? Like, come on.
At this point, I know my grandma used to say that after 3, it didn't matter. You could have 300, it didn't matter. You're already outnumbered.
I also just realized how ludicrous that sounds in light of the fact that we're doing a story about someone with 8
Oh, yeah. I went right along with it. Totally the same. So Kate and Jon are happy. So Kate wants to have just one more kid. Jon is like, I think we're good here. Our hands are kind of full. But you've seen the show. Kate's going to get her way in this. And so the couple decide to go through IVF one more time. But this time, they become pregnant with sextuplets. And Kate later says, I knew there was a chance for multiples. We already had multiples. But of course, you're thinking, we've already had multiples. We're not going to have them again. But she had no idea there could be 7. So apparently they placed 7 embryos and one didn't develop. But she said, had she known there could be 6, she would have never done the placement. So I'm a little confused on how she wouldn't have known that they were doing that many. I don't necessarily know that I buy that from her, but I mean, maybe.
Wait, so you're saying she wouldn't have chosen 7. She wouldn't have put 7 in.
Yeah, she said she wouldn't have done that. That's
so
the
she
thing.
didn't know the number that they were.
Right. You would think, I'm sure that it is, I don't know enough about IVF to be honest, but I know it's an expensive thing. I know there's only so many embryos. I know those kind of things. So maybe she felt like she only had one chance. I don't know. But that's what she said in an interview. She just had no idea. And for them, the option was never there for them to terminate any of the pregnancies. So when they found out it was 6, they were having
6. Right.
Mm-hmm. So Kate's admitted to the hospital at 20 weeks pregnant and is on bed rest starting at 22 weeks. Can you even imagine? I think the babies ended up being born at 30 weeks. So the sextuplets are born on May 22nd, 2004. 3 boys, 3 girls. And here's my note that says, Rebekah, do you know their names? So sorry.
It's all right. You beat me to the punch. It's cool. I knew there was Colin because that's my brother's name.
Oh, yeah. Aiden is so freaking cute. The little one with little glasses.
The glasses, I can totally
picture.
He was
always my favorite. Yeah. So the sextuplets are born at Penn State Hershey Medical Center, and they're dubbed the Hershey Kisses because they're born in Hershey Medical Center. Super cute. Except now I think Hershey Kisses and poop, so it doesn't seem as cute anymore. Like every joke is like, like a baby shower you go to.
It's
they melt.
True. I hate those games.
Yeah.
They should be outlawed.
During the time of the hospitalization, both Kate and Jon are not working. I read that they both lost their jobs during this time while she was pregnant. I only saw that in one thing, so I don't know if that's true. I don't know if one quit. I mean, I would think that you might have to quit to stay home with the other 2 babies while your wife's in the hospital. I can see how working a 9 to 5 is not going to be super ideal during this time.
Right.
So they literally said that during this time, they survive on the generosity of family and friends and strangers because thanks to this story, they get into all kinds of press in Pennsylvania. Like this is a huge deal. And so thanks to this press and the different stories that are out there in the news, things really started to change for the family. There's this Discovery Health producer who sees a news report on the family and they reach out to them about making a documentary. And that's exactly what they did. The first special was called Surviving Sextuplets and Twins. Not so original, but like, you get it. Right?
True. Right.
Yeah.
Factual. Hopefully.
Right. And that aired in May of 2006. And 1 year later, there was a second special that would air. So the first one was called Surviving Sextuplets and Twins. What would the next special be called, do you think, Rebekah?
Sextuplets and twins.
Yes, there you go. And just add anything on the end of it. The time frame it was a year.
Again, now, 1 year later.
1 year later. Yep, exactly. Apparently, NBC also did some sort of show with them called Home Delivery, quote unquote, Home Delivery, where they like help them expand their house to make it roomier for the now 10 people that are living with it. But that has been scrubbed from the internet. I cannot find that anywhere.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. But also the name is Home Delivery. So it was just kind of
confusing.
Mm-hmm. So back to Surviving Sextuplets and Twins. This special is a huge hit. Do you know if you ever saw this special?
I don't think so.
Okay. It's basically the gateway to Jon and Kate Plus 8, and it shows quite a bit about their lives. So at the time Jon is working, they're showing him working 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Monday through Friday. Kate is working at a dialysis clinic every Saturday, and then every other Saturday she was picking up double shifts. So they're working constantly. But to keep things organized, Kate had help around the house, but like her help had to be done how she wanted it. Mm-hmm. So Rebekah, I have a little clip for you to kind of show Kate in what I would call her natural element.
Mm-hmm.
It is always and forever more things to do than is crossed off.
It would be impossible for the Gosselins' home to be free of chaos, but it is kept to a minimum thanks to Kate's extreme organization.
According to my husband, I go a little overboard in the organizational department a lot of times, but I feel like it's the only way I can survive, knowing a strict schedule, what comes next. I never have to guess. There's no guesswork.
I mean, I kind of get it. I strive to be that organized, and I think with like 8 variables that are kids, eliminating as many as possible makes sense. Like I don't
Totally.
But I also am like a little type A, and I'm not actually type A enough to probably do it.
Right.
I don't know if I were in that scenario. I'm not sure.
Right. Totally. And I feel like you have to have some sort of extreme organization in this kind of life with that much going on for things to function as they should. But how much of it is like your partner considered in this, and like how much input did they actually give, and how much of it is just being dictated to, which it can be exhausting. As someone who dictates to my partner, my husband gets tired all the time.
Both parties are drained in that scenario. I will say you either have to be you have to be the flow chart of naps when you have that many kids, or you have to be so laid back, free spirited that it's just like this, you know, live and let live kind of parenting. I have friends like that too, with multiples and many kids. It's one or the other.
Yeah, there would not be any sort of happy medium. Happy medium would just be like fire in the house. Like everything is just done. There's just no middle ground for this, right?
Yeah.
So in this documentary, it shows Jon as being the low-key parent, and Kate is viewed as being pretty uptight and rigid. I think those are two words people would use quite a bit with her. At the time, though, it really does seem to work. Not for very long, but Discovery Health sees what a gold mine they have on their hand and how much people are enjoying this documentary, and so they begin production on Jon and Kate Plus 8. So Discovery Health signs them up for this reality show, which begins in April of 2007. And so they talked about this being really chaotic for the family, but really great because they were filming, they would have crews in their house 3 or 4 days a week, which is a lot, but it allowed both of them to be able to stay home with the kids. Wow. Yeah. So they are no longer working outside the house. This is literally their job now, and they needed something like this. So the show runs on Discovery Health for 2 seasons before it moves to TLC, where it becomes a massive, massive hit. Jon and Kate Plus 8 is everywhere. They're on Oprah. Kate ends up getting this mommy makeover by Dr. Glassman, and that name's going to come up again. And while the family just appeared to be this all-American, albeit tightly run ship with these 6 kids, behind the scenes, after a few seasons, things are really starting to fall apart. So to Kate's credit, she always tried to be herself, or at least she said she was always being herself. But being herself is pretty abrupt and sometimes rude, where Jon appeared to kind of be along for the ride. Now, looking at this through 2020 eyes, I get her a little bit more.
Right?
And I do get him a little bit more too. Like, I get where it's like, wait, was she just having to do everything and this guy's just like literally doing the bare minimum, and everybody's like, oh my gosh, he has 8 kids. He went to the grocery store.
Probably.
Yeah, I feel like there's a little bit of that, right? And how much, you know, I don't know. I think they're both very difficult and become more difficult as this goes on. But I think everyone wasn't getting, maybe they were getting a fair edit, but maybe the way we looked at it was a little bit different than we
It has
now,
to
right?
be. It has to be. It's crazy that it's only 15 years ago. This is not decades and decades ago, but the lens has changed. Our perceptions have changed. Our expectations have changed. So I totally buy that.
Absolutely, yeah. But the family at this point starts making bank, really. This ends up being one of the biggest shows for TLC. I read that one of the episodes, like the premiere of maybe the 4th season, was like the biggest show on TLC, but like the biggest show on all channels that night or whatever. And everyone knew about Jon and Kate Plus 8, whether or not they watched. It was just part of pop culture at that point, right? But during the 4th season, viewers like Rebekah could see that something was off. They were starting to sit on separate sides of the couch. They started they looked miserable in their confessionals going into the 5th season. So right before the 5th season premieres, things blow up in the tabloids. So Us Weekly reports that Jon was having a 3-month-long affair with this school teacher. And so there's even these photos that accompany this article about this woman named Deanna. She is seen sunbathing at the family's house when Kate is out of town. And so, yeah, and I looked and those pictures do exist. It was so reckless. But I mean, if you think about it, like he's just this guy allegedly having this affair with this woman who thinks paparazzi is sitting outside their home taking pictures of her at their house. You know what I mean? Like, obviously, all of this is very stupid and reckless, but a normal guy cheating on his wife and having this person over you wouldn't think twice, right? I mean, I don't know.
I don't know.
I'm not cheating on anybody.
Me either, but I don't think I would
Let's start that.
Yeah, on the record. I don't know. I always think like in the house is just a big risk.
Absolutely.
I don't know. I don't like it. There should be boundaries in
gross.
affairs.
In affairs, we need rules.
Rules of engagement.
Exactly. Jon goes on to say he was never having an affair. This was just a friendship. He said at this point his marriage with Kate was already over. He felt like it was a transactional marriage and not one that he felt loved in. And so on the final episode of Jon and Kate Plus 8, or one of the final, I should say, the couple end up announcing that they're divorcing, which is no surprise. As you mentioned, truly, you've never seen people hate each other more than these two on this couch. They looked like they absolutely despise one another, which apparently they did. Mm-hmm. But Jon's foray into the world of tabloids didn't end with allegations of an affair. No, it was about to get much, much messier. And we'll get into that after one quick break to hear a word from this week's sponsors. So before the break, we're discussing the popularity of the hit TLC show, Jon and Kate Plus 8, and the clear breakdown in their marriage. So although Jon and Kate were choosing to divorce, TLC still has a cash cow in their hand. So they decide to, eventually they'll change the name of the show to Kate Plus 8. And really they just kicked Jon right out. So he was still going to be in some episodes, but they decided to make the show around Kate being a single mom with the 8 kids.
Yeah.
But at this point, Jon is getting a taste for the good life. He's staying at Trump Towers in New York. He's dressing in the finest clothes.
Ed Hardy included.
Yep. So after this breakup with Kate, Jon begins seeing this new girl. She is 22 years old. Her name is Haley Glassman. And Jon ends up, after his split with Kate, he moves in with Haley's parents. And Haley meets him when she comes home from college. And if you're like, that's weird. Why would Jon be moving into the home of the parents of Haley, but he doesn't know Haley? Is this like a family friend? What's going on?
Yeah, all of that.
Rebekah, I got you, fam.
Isn't it beautiful? I'm very happy. Yep, never thought I'd see myself again. Very exciting. Thank you, Dr. Glassman.
Thank you, Dr. Glassman. Her surgeon's daughter?
So, Rebekah, Jon began dating his soon-to-be ex-wife's plastic surgeon's daughter.
That is messy.
Isn't it so messy?
Oh my gosh.
I had forgotten that was that
I
relationship.
didn't know that. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
How
So
did the doctor sign off on that?
I don't know. So I think if I remember correctly, Dr. Glassman heard about Kate. You know, she's had these 8 kids. He offers to do this surgery for her. I guess Jon meets them, you know, has nowhere to go. They say, you can stay with us. Oh, also our daughter is coming to visit. No big deal. She's 22 and you're getting out of a major relationship.
And
Whoops,
loves
we're dating
hats.
now.
Yeah, this is going to be a problem.
Oh,
I shouldn't
my
have
gosh.
suggested that the dad or the mom need to sign off. She's 22. She's an adult. She can date who she wants. But I could think
If my daughter said she was dating Jon Gosselin, I'm going to have words.
Yes. I think there'd be some guidance away from the man sleeping in the basement. Like, because of his life circumstances. Like, maybe it's not an ideal match.
No.
Oh, boy. Okay.
No, it's not. Yeah. So this relationship, though, is all over the place. Like, she is 22.
Yeah.
And so they're like tabloid fodder. And she's like, he's just a great guy. We just love hanging out. We're so much alike, very young,
Blah, blah, blah.
dumb
Yeah.
love.
Yeah.
And he's like all about it too. He's got this hot young thing. And I ended up seeing this interview where I think it was like Entertainment Tonight or something, where she's being interviewed. So Haley's being interviewed and Jon is literally sitting on the floor in the room. He's not being interviewed, but the person's asking questions. Mary Hart, she's asking questions to Haley about Jon. And she says something along the lines of, they're so in love, he wouldn't leave her side. And I was like, lady, we don't call that in 2022.
Yeah, talk about a sign of the times, right? Oh my gosh.
And he's just like creepily sitting in the corner and they're like, they're so much in love, they can't be apart. I'm like, he's just watching to see what she says. And how do we not see this?
And to give her death stares. Yeah, these are called red flags, my friend Mary.
Mary, yes. Yeah, it was a lot.
Yeah.
So the couple are seen gallivanting all over the place, and they're matching Ed Harvey. They're on yachts. I don't know how, living it up. And this might be a good time to mention that Ed Hardy was not a fan of any of this. In fact, he claimed that a big reason that his brand even failed was because of its direct link to Jon Gosselin.
That makes me love Ed Hardy. Like, forget the clothes, like the man. I'm like obsessed now.
Right? Like, to understand what that has done to you and your brand. And I feel like the designer's name was Christian. I can't remember his last name. It starts with an A, and I apologize, I don't have that written down. But he was going to make a kids' clothing line with Jon, which I also forgot about. And Haley was helping him with that. Like, what a weird time in the world this was.
The zeitgeist. Yeah.
We were just okay with it, I guess.
Way too many opportunities up for grabs for people.
Oh, yeah, just terribleness. So anyway, the couple break up. Surprising. Haley and Jon didn't last forever because of what Jon ends up saying in his divorce deposition. He ends up admitting to cheating on Haley with Kate Major, who is a reporter for Star Magazine.
Oh.
Now, Rebekah.
Jon.
Does Kate Major sound familiar to you? Does that name?
It's a great name, but no.
No? Let me help you out. So new Kate and Jon obviously were not going to last forever. Okay. And she goes on to find love and a rest with another celebrity or celebrity adjacent star with whom she has a baby. Do you have any guesses who she has a baby with?
Kate Major.
Rebekah, did you say Michael Lohan? Because that would be crazy, and you'd be right.
Are you kidding me?
She has a baby. She has the half-sibling of Lindsay Lohan. She carried it in her womb.
I thought we were.
Have you ever had that moment when you're leaving the house and you wonder, did I lock the door? Or worse yet, you start spiraling and you imagine all the what ifs. I used to feel that way all the time, but it wasn't until a few years ago when I heard about a break-in just a few blocks away that I realized I needed to really step up my home security game. And now I can spiral about the what-ifs on things that don't matter, like reality stars, instead of the what-ifs of home security. We've had Simply Safe protecting our house for the last few years now, and it's a total game changer. With Simply Safe's Fast Protect monitoring, I know within 5 seconds if something's actually up, and the lifeguards can actually speak to intruders to stop them. That's faster than a reality TV star can throw a drink. One of the things I really love the most is you're not locked into some over-the-top 90-day fiancé level contract drama. Simply Safe is actually affordable as well, less than $1 a day with no hidden fees, so it's easy to love. It's no wonder they've been named Best Home Security Systems by U.S. News and World Report for 5 years running. Whether you want to install it yourself, it really takes less than an hour, or have a professional handle it, Simply Safe is as easy as flipping channels between Chimp Crazy and The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. So why wait for the drama to happen? Get Simply Safe and know your home is covered just like I did. Protect your home with 50% off a new Simply Safe system, plus a free indoor security camera when you sign up for Fast Protect monitoring. Just visit simplysafe.com/criminality. That's simplysafe.com/criminality. There's no safe like Simply Safe.
Okay, it's time to commit. 2024 is the year for prioritizing yourself. Begin your new smile journey with Byte, and you could start seeing results in just 2 to 3 weeks. Just order your at-home impression kit today for only $14.95 at Byte.com. Byte clear liners are doctor-directed and delivered to your door. Treatment costs thousands less than braces, plus they offer financing options, accept eligible insurance, and you could pay with your HSA, FSA. Get 80% off your impression kit when you use code WONDERY at Byte.com. That's BYTE.com. Start your confidence journey today with Byte.
We're in the peak aughts before. Now here we are.
Michael Lohan, his beeper on his side, just getting pages from Kate Major.
No stranger to Ed Hardy either, that guy, Michael Lohan. Oh, this is wild. No, I didn't know that.
Isn't that just... And I love that she breaks up with him because she finds out he's having an affair and that lady ends up having a baby. It's just so good. I mean, it's bad. Their relationship was terrible. And that's a whole other mess that I've decided not to even go into. And I've had it on my list and it's too messy.
Wow.
That's wild.
The magic of being on TV, though. I mean,
yeah.
The fact that Jon is pulling in all these women.
Multiple women.
Just because he was on a TLC show about being a dad. Like, it's
About being a dad. That is the worst part.
Right. It's pretty interesting.
I had so
sad.
many kids, they gave me a TV show. Yeah. I'm ready to bang every one of you. That's basically what he did.
And there was a line waiting. I mean, what's sadder? Which part?
Honestly, we should all just be ashamed. I'm ashamed for them. I have no relation to them. Back to Jon and Kate, the original Jon and Kate, not Jon and Kate Major. So Jon continues dating, and he's living it up in New York. And we don't hear too much from him. But in September of 2009, we get the first police kind of thing going on. So police are called to Jon and Kate's former home. So that's the really nice Pennsylvania farm thing that they end up buying with all their boo-koodles of money. And the way it originally worked in their custody is that when Jon was living in New York and he would come to Pennsylvania, stay in that old house, Kate would leave the house and he'd watch the kids there, or he'd hang out with the kids there. That way it wasn't disrupting the kids.
Sure.
He doesn't have a place for 8 people in New York at the time. I don't know if Dr. Glassman was cool with him bringing all 8 kids, so that's kind of what they ended up doing. So Kate comes home early, I guess, one time, and Jon has hired a babysitter. I don't know that the babysitter was there and Jon wasn't. He might have just needed help. I'm not sure.
Okay.
But Kate finds out and she flips out, and he is like, you can't come in to the property. So he must have been there. I'm saying that wrong. And so Jon ends up telling the paparazzi, quote, I said I'm spending time with my kids and she's just going to have to leave. And she tried to cry it up with the cops and it didn't work. And they basically said to her, you have to leave. So it was like, this is your custody agreement.
Right.
He's allowed to be here. You can't control that he has a babysitter there, right? Obviously, I'm sure they ended up putting something in she has to approve of the babysitters after that because she wasn't going to let that one go. And I get that too.
Yeah.
So back to the, at this point, necessary divorce. Jon and Kate finalized their divorce in December of 2009. And Jon claims this whole time he never wanted a divorce, but Kate does. And Kate says, kind of wanted to have a divorce because you were kind of cheating on me and maybe that wasn't working out. So the court ends up granting Kate that huge house that they were living in, and the family enjoyed on the final seasons of Jon and Kate Plus 8. And while they were going to be sharing physical custody of the kids, Kate is granted legal custody, full legal custody.
Wow.
During this same month of the divorce being finalized, Jon claims his New York City apartment is broken into and things are broken and stolen in it, Rebekah.
That happens.
According to his attorney, Jon was, quote, horrified to observe his furniture, clothing, and personal belongings slashed by a very troubled and sick perpetrator, end quote. There was apparently a note, allegedly written by Haley, left on the dresser with a butcher knife right through it.
What?
So, I kind of love that part. So we don't hear any more about this break-in. Haley's attorneys are like, it's staged, and honestly, probably. I don't know. Nothing else comes of it, but I just love the idea that you need Jon so badly, you are going to go to this level. Kate Major wouldn't even do that. And she had a baby with Michael Lohan.
It's a very Lifetime movie scene.
Right? It's a level that we don't hear about a lot, and so I just thought I'd throw it in there.
It's
just
fun.
For funsies.
It's fun. Yeah. Also, why is he living in New York? Does he have some reason? Is he pursuing entertainment opportunities or something?
Oh, do you know about his entertainment opportunities?
Did I know what?
We'll get into it. Did you know about the stuff he's trying to do?
Okay, good. It's coming. Okay, good.
It's coming. Things aren't over yet for the reality star, not by a long shot. Jon ends up going on Larry King Live, R.I.P. King, and he claims he wants his kids off this show. He said, quote, had an epiphany, end quote. I love that that's it. I had an epiphany. Just one day I woke up and was like, you can say that about anything, Rebekah. I had an epiphany. Don't worry, darling, is going to be more drama than we could have ever imagined, and I love it. It's an
That's an epiphany. I kind of remember this Larry King interview. Yep.
He said, quote, I just looked in the mirror and I said, I don't want to be this person anymore. I made mistakes. I know I messed up. I do regret a lot of things, but I have learned from those mistakes and moved forward. But in regards to the kids on the show, he said, quote, "The reason I don't think it's healthy for them is that we're going through a divorce right now, and I don't think it should be televised, and I think my kids should be taken off the show. They're 5, talking about the sex tablets, and 8, talking about the twins now. Let them experience a normal childhood." Agree. I actually completely agree with this. I can see how, especially with them going through the divorce, that this would be very, very hard for the kids. Strong words, but I agree. The issue is TLC claims that he only said this a few days after the official announcement that it would be moving on from Jon and Kate Plus 8 to just Kate Plus 8. So all of a sudden he's being taken off of it, and that's when God gives you the epiphany.
Right. That's a convenient epiphany.
I mean, if you're going to have an epiphany, don't you want it to be convenient?
Yeah. I want it to align with my PR goals too. Okay. I have thoughts. I'm going to hold. Keep going.
Oh, okay. I'll keep going. So then they said, quote, "TLC made the Kate Plus 8 announcement after an unsuccessful attempt to discuss the matter with Gosselin, Jon." They state that in the lawsuit, which claims that Jon's attorney subsequently contacted TLC with the quote unquote detrimental threat later on that same day. So basically the same day he had the epiphany, he lost it, and God was like, "Jon, I got some news for you, brother. Get your kids off that show." Quote, "TLC explained that Jon would continue to appear on the program, continue to receive compensation, and would remain under contract, but the program's primary focus going forward would be Kate's role as a single mother." End quote. One thing this doesn't say is him being under contract meant that he couldn't go on like competing shows. So he couldn't do something for another show, although he was on some like motorcycle show, but I think it was all in the same like Discovery Health family kind of thing. But he was trying to do stuff outside of that contract. So he feels like he's being kind of stifled because he's not actually part of the show, but he is, and he's getting paid, but he can't pursue his life in career in entertainment, Rebekah.
Right. And
Why? Who are we to stop Jon Gosselin?
Yeah. And these are his only job opportunities, I'm sure.
Absolutely. So basically, Jon claims Kate's doing this for the money, and Kate says Jon's really just trying to make her and the kids suffer. And quite honestly, I think it's a little bit of column A and a little bit of column B. Overall, though, things seem to calm down in Jon's life. He eventually is in 2 long-term relationships. Ages were pretty similar to his, one of which was documented on Couples Therapy. I did not watch that. After the Scott Stapp thing, I just couldn't bring that into this show. I could not bring that negative energy into this episode.
Stop.
So one of the long-term relationships ended just this past year. I think it was like 7 years or something he was with.
Who has the time? I'm sorry. Like, I just like, I mean, in a weird way, like, hats off, brother. But like, do you know what I mean? Like, 8 kids, co-parenting sounds like so much work and a lot of time. I don't know. I guess everybody's different.
To me, it felt like it was a stable time in his life. Like he just had somebody that supported him and got him. But I understand what you're saying. Like, give me freedom or give me nothing.
I would just need to like zone out in the off hours personally.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, there's a reason that we didn't have this epiphany and Jon did.
Yes.
So Jon's mostly been out of the spotlight since then. He's worked various jobs, including installing solar panels. He was a line cook at TGI Fridays. And as of May of 2020, he works as an IT director for a nonprofit, which sounds great. That seems like, I feel like he's on the right track at this point. Like, it just makes more sense now, right?
Yeah.
He's also done some DJing. At one point, he was DJing 12 to 15 shows a month, Rebekah.
Where? Why? For who?
Well, some things we don't need to know the answers to. So back in November of 2021, he's on the Dr. Oz show, and he speaks about this hip-hop album he wants to release. He has released one song with DJ Casper. It's called Voicemail. Would you like to hear a little bit?
Yeah.
So, you get this message. I guess call me back. Jon Gosselin. Call me back, all right? You're always on my mind, but I don't want it to hurt this time.
I don't know what's worse, that it happened or that it's not as bad as I thought it would be.
Rebekah, the beat, not bad at all. I was into the beat.
I'm not mad at it. I am not mad at it.
I know. It's like a crisis of conscience. I don't know how to feel about it.
100% is. My expectations were below the floor, and I'm like, oh, that's a bop.
I know. I could walk around the neighborhood listening to that. Come on.
But it should never have happened. It should never have happened in the first place. It should never have happened.
Not within the last year, Rebekah. This was an early 2000s decision.
This makes no sense.
One of the lyrics in the song is something like, "You need to pick up the FaceTime. Don't let me go to voicemail. Something, something, stop hitting end." And I was like, what is this song about? I keep sending you a voicemail. I'm like, is this just a stalker just saying everything that he's doing? It's a little weird.
It's a little weird.
But I love it. Okay. Yeah. But as for Jon and Kate as co-parents, this gets kind of dark. Things really haven't improved. It's always kind of been a mess with these two. Jon's been noted as saying he never knew who he was going to get when he would go pick up the kids for a visitation, right? He would drive there. Whoever came down the driveway is who went home with him that day. Because the kids at some age just decided they didn't want to go with him and he didn't push it.
That's brutal for everybody.
It really is.
Yeah.
And Jon and Kate have called the police on one another at least once or twice. Once at an orthodontist office where there's this argument over custody again, who was bringing home one of the children. At this time, Kate ends up calling the police and said Jon had to return Hannah to her. So Hannah did not want to go home with Kate and she wanted to go home with Jon. So Jon takes her home, I guess. And then that, is a phone call to the police and all of that. And around 2016, people began to notice that Kate was posting these pictures of 5 of the 6 sextuplets. So you'd see 5 of them. You always knew there were 6 and 1 is missing. And the one that was missing was Colin. He was never in these photos. So she finally tells people are asking, where's Colin? Where's Colin? Where's Colin? And she finally says Colin's living in a facility for kids with special needs. So Jon finds out and says, I had no idea that's where he was. I wasn't told, I wasn't consulted. I had no idea. And he said he had no way of even getting a hold of him because he doesn't even know where he is.
What?
Messy. So Colin finally sends him this letter. It was so sad. I read it and it's just him begging him and saying, you're my dad, you're my hero. Please get me out of here. I don't want to be here. And so he says, I'm old enough now. Let me decide who I want to live. I don't want to live with her. She sent me here. I don't want to be here.
Oh my gosh.
I'm telling you, very dark. And so Jon ends up getting a court date where Kate fails to appear and they end up giving custody of Colin to him. And Jon says he should have never been in this facility. He has ADHD, but there was no reason for him to be sent away. Jon says basically Kate couldn't deal with him, so she sent him away.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Is there anything on the record of what Kate says the special needs were?
No, she just said special needs. I didn't see anything else where she went any further. And basically once he gets custody of Colin, that's Kate. She's kind of done with the whole thing. She's not really messing with it. Which, keep in mind, these are their freaking children.
She doesn't fight to have Colin back?
No, she just doesn't even go to the court date. So
yeah, she doesn't even show up. That's crazy. Oh my, this is so sad.
It really is sad. And so at this point, though, Hannah, one of the other sextuplets, is actually living with Jon. She had already, after that whole custody thing at the orthodontist office, was able to tell somebody, I don't want to live with Kate anymore. I don't want to live with my mom. And Jon ended up getting custody, which imagine how hard that is for these kids who have always been together, having to be separated from each other.
Yeah.
Because they don't want to be with one of the parents.
Yeah, it's a terrible position to be in. I think it's right that they get the agency and the ability to make it, but it's got to be so tough.
I can't imagine. So Colin's now living with Jon. Hannah's now living with Jon. Jon's saying Colin's doing great. He's doing well in school, all of this. Colin eventually calls police and says that Jon beats him up after an argument. For everything, police investigate, don't find anything. What Jon said happened was Colin would have these outbursts where he would hurt himself or somebody else. So he would have to hold him and restrain him.
Yeah.
And if you've ever had a family member or somebody in those kind of situations, you understand. And I'm not saying, I don't know, but the investigation was nothing happened.
Got it.
But that's what Colin said. He eventually takes it back. And Jon basically says He was mad. He was upset. He hasn't learned how to deal with things. And this is just kind of a product of that. So it didn't seem like Jon had any like ill will towards him. I mean, he's still living with him. And it was just kind of like, buddy, we can't do that.
And maybe that explains a bit about Kate's struggle with
absolutely
parenting him, because that is hard. And it's
absolutely, that's like that's something you would need assistance with for sure.
Yeah.
I don't know what you do beyond that, but that's what she chose to do, I guess.
Wow.
And also Hannah said she was there, and that Colin's story did not line up with what actually happened, but you know, I don't know. But now it seems like Colin's doing really well. He is enrolled in the Army Reserves. He's going to be getting ready to get into that. But he says that both Colin and Hannah are doing really well, but they're alienated from their other siblings. He said, I know, like the kids don't really talk to each other. And Jon says, this is all Jon. He says, you know, I wish they would talk to me, but I don't care if they won't talk to me. I want them to talk to each other, the siblings, to have a relationship with each other. And he hopes that one day they will, which is so sad that like, we're not even at the point of him saying, I would love to have a relationship with my other kids, which he would, but he just wants the most basic, that like sextuplet,
sibling bond.
Yeah. So back to Jon and Kate. While Jon has more or less been out of the public eye for about a decade, Kate has actually withdrawn a little as well. In fact, she actually moved herself and the other 4 sextuplets, Maddie and Kara, are now in college. Colin and Hannah live with Jon. They moved to North Carolina, where she's now working as a nurse. Isn't that wild?
Yes. I had no idea.
This is very recent. And people close to her say this is a huge change, but it's something she had to do. She wasn't making money anymore.
Yeah.
She said the sextuplets were in their last year of school, so she felt comfortable selling that large Pennsylvania home and moving to a smaller one in North Carolina. And if you thought this was the end of the story, well, almost. Just this past week, there was more in the news on these two. It's actually what triggered this story for me. Yeah. Not only are the sextuplets now 18.
Oh my gosh.
Again, we could both be parents of them at this point.
Yeah, they would be right in between my youngest and middle. Yikes.
No. I'm just kidding.
Lord help me.
But that means they actually have access to the trust funds that were put in place for them during their time on the show.
Oh.
Get ready for this. So according to The Sun, Kate has taken out $50,000 from the trust of both Hannah and Colin. I didn't see where she had taken it out of the trust for any of the other kids, but the only ones that Jon can see, he's supposed to be able to see all of them, the only ones he can see are Colin and Hannah. So the way this trust works is that any loan that's made from it can only be done with permission and paperwork saying how you're going to pay it back, right? Mm-hmm. So according to Jon, he's looking at the kids' trust, realizes $50,000 is missing from each of the kids' accounts. In court, Kate says this money that she took out was used to, quote, meet her and the children's expenses, end quote. She claims in 2018, she made $40,000 for each episode of Kate Plus 8, which I refuse to speak about because that show should have never been made. But she didn't work at all in 2019, and she hasn't worked since then. So we're talking 4 years, basically. She hasn't really had an income like she did before.
Yeah.
She also added, quote, I will have to keep borrowing from it to survive, end quote. Yeah, it's going to get worse. I'll get there. Okay. And for her to survive, apparently she needs a $750,000 home, lakefront with a pool. And here's where she really loses me. She also says in court, quote, I mean, I paid $387,000 for their private school tuition out of our income, not the trust over the years. So, I mean, I'm not looking to collect that, but I borrowed $100,000 from the kids' trust, and it owes me $387,000 technically.
Wow.
Am I crazy for thinking like that's just...
No, she's commodified her kids. I mean, like you could argue just putting them on the show was doing that, but I can make the argument that that was okay for, you know, I'm not saying it was, but you could say, but that was for family income and for them to be home with them. And this is literally like using your kids' money that was set aside for them as your own personal bank for a lifestyle that is subjectively, you know, not necessary. No, objectively, not necessary.
all the actively's. You're right. Yeah. It's just wild because nobody forced her to put them in private school. And yet she's like, they technically owe me $387,000. So they got off
technically
easy.
not the kid's responsibility to pay for their own education.
Would you ever think that? Like, it is a wild thing to me. But I, if I'm being honest, I feel like she is the personality that would say, okay, this month we had doctor's bills. Who broke their arm this month? When I asked you not to skateboard, we're deducting. Like, I could be totally wrong, and I'm just joking. But I could see that kind of thing happening, really.
Did she confirm that it was only Colin and Hannah's money?
I didn't see anything else in that article.
So did she do this across the board? And do we know how much is in their trusts in total? Like,
Don't know how much is in there.
I would love to know that.
But also, I think he only brought forth those two because that's the only two he
could access.
had.
Yeah.
Okay. And he's supposed to get quarterly reports, but he said he's never gotten them. But Jon did end up having Colin and Hannah take financial literacy classes to help them once they turned 18.
Smart.
And are able to get this money, right? And so the sextuplets are all 18, as I said before. And Jon said, at this point, Colin and Hannah can go and take Kate to civil court if they want to. I don't know if they're going to or not, but they could. That was their money that she took from them. I don't know. It's just that sentence, and it owes me $387,000 technically.
It's disgusting.
It's the worst. Like, an attorney couldn't make me say that about my kids. And there was something else, like Hannah called to talk to them. This is all according to Jon, but Hannah called to talk to them when she turned 16, I think. And he said Kate quickly tried to get off the phone with her, and like the other kids, like, it's a very strained relationship based on who you wanted to live with. I will say Hannah and Colin seem to be doing pretty good. I don't know, like, not to hate on Kate, but they seem to be doing better overall than it seems like the other ones. Yeah.
I feel like we haven't seen the last of them, and that this industry is so brutal and so desperate to peddle stories that we could end up seeing like sextuplets in a year or two on a show.
Like a reunion show.
A reunion. Or maybe they will pursue, a civil lawsuit, and like, this is all they're going to know. And they're either going to want to like get completely away from it, and it could be different for each one, or they're going to kind of find their way through it inside of it because it comes with some financial benefit.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just, it's so tough. It's so tough.
And if you look at it now, like, okay, they had a great few years where they made a lot of money and they had this nice house and all this lifestyle. But what they're left with now is just like broken relationships.
Right.
Kate's back to being a nurse, which there's no shame in being a nurse whatsoever. No. It's an incredible job. But like, that's not the money she was making before. And I don't know. It's all just, it's so gross when it comes down to the kids, which should have been the only thing that mattered.
Right. And I mean, I hate to say it, but we see it every time. These things never end well. I mean, never. And I do think their intentions were probably pretty pure, like going into the show and being like, wow, this is actually paying our bills, and we don't have to go kill ourselves at these jobs and be so drained when we get home. Like, we can parent and do it together, and we could get paid for it. But then Kate's lifestyle expectations change, and that makes her make choices she probably wouldn't have, or maybe, I don't know who she is at her core, but like down the road, things you could never predict, all because you get into this like quasi fame. I mean, it is fame, but it's like this weird extension of it, this reality bubble. It's so bizarre. It's sad.
It is. It was really sad. I mean, I ended up having different feelings about both of them. Obviously, I read mostly from Jon's point of view, since that's what I was really researching. But it does seem like he went through like a time where he was not being a great guy and like left Kate and cheated on everyone and their mother, all of that stuff. But I feel like his intentions became more pure, and like he was back in the kids' lives and all that stuff, or tried to. But I feel like they both hate each other so much that I remember hearing something that was like, you should love your kids more than you hate your ex-spouse, like for a divorce. You love it. And it does not. It feels like I can't say how much they love their kids, but it feels like what you see in the media is that they just truly hate each other so much that there's casualties, and that's just so be it. They just hate each other. It's sad.
It's really sad, and probably not what they, expected when they signed up.
Yeah.
I don't know who's worse. Like, honestly, neither seem super great, but I agree with what you were saying at the beginning that I do think we have a different perspective on Kate now.
Right.
I think, that's a lot. I mean, they were young. I don't know. He seemed like a dud for a lot of it. Like, just like she was.
That's the thing. I don't think we'll ever know. I think they both have incredibly I don't know. I think they just both, I truly think they just hate each other so much now that like I don't know how you even get through that, but like, just sucks for the kids. And, thinking
really
of like getting weddings and all this kind of stuff, 8 of them, that's just a lot of life that everyone's going to miss out on because of these strained relationships.
Yeah, and their immaturity. I hope the sextuplets reconnect and that all 6 of them. That's like really like, and with the older 2 siblings, like I hope the kids come out and kind of work through it together, and then maybe there can be like a bigger familial reconciliation. It's also changed. Is 15 years ago, we definitely would have made fun of Kate's hair, but we won't today. We didn't do it once.
I didn't even mention it.
I know. I thought that was so progressive of us.
Oh.
So thoughtful, but whoo. It's as bad as
there
an
was
Ed
enough
Hardy
to
shirt.
go after. There was a lot. So Rebekah, that is the story for this week.
So much more about them than I knew, but they're such a fascinating family and entity. That was such a good call. Good call. Yeah.
Everyone forget about Scott. I've now done Jon Gosselin. This was my redemption.
I'm not going to get in the way of your redemption, but you're the hardest on that episode than anyone else.
Okay, Rebekah, I need to ask you a question.
Wait. I need to tell you something before you ask me this question. Go. I have to do a correction corner, which I should have done at the top.
Oh, you do.
This is a big one. Mm-hmm. When you said rest in peace, Larry King, I was reminded that I announced someone's death who was very much alive. And that is a big fear of a podcaster.
I know.
So my apologies. Pele is alive and well, and I'm thrilled to hear it. I did read like a total fake news source that said he died, and he's up there in age. And the last 3 years, so many people have died. I mean, it doesn't matter. I was wrong, and a really gracious listener who
was so nice about it,
so sweet about it. So the kind listener is Brazilian, so she very much could verify and knows about Pele. So I'm so sorry that I said he was dead and he wasn't.
I think everyone will forgive you. We'll forgive you for that. They'll forgive me for Scott's death, and we'll all just move on. Let's just move on with our lives.
It's a new day, a new episode.
Yes. Rebekah, would you like to share what you are watching?
I really would.
Oh, good.
Because I'm hoping you'll like it as much as I am. Okay. I'm, as usual, just like 4 episodes into a new watch, and here's your 3 clues. Peacock, anniversary, Tulum, or Mexico, if you want me to make it more easy.
Oh, wait, is this the one, the resort?
God, yes, you
it's
pay
the
attention.
Only Hulu show I know.
No, I mean, it's not Hulu.
Show.
Did I say Peacock? Okay, I did say Peacock. Really? Like, I don't go onto Peacock without like a very specific purpose. So I don't see all the, where has this show been hiding? It's great.
You know what? One of our listeners told us that we should watch it, and that's where it's in my head. I haven't started it yet. Yeah.
Wow. I really don't remember things. Let me just read you the blurb. Starring William Jackson Harper and Kristen Milioti as a married couple on vacation at a holiday resort for their 10th anniversary, where they're drawn into a mystery that took place 15 years before. So couple goes on their anniversary. It's their 10-year. I would say they're like kind of lost their spark. And they're like great friends, but like you don't see this. They were not Jon and Kate on their newlywed honeymoon vacation documentary. Not even close. Relatable. They show like just these really great, like for anyone who's been married more than 10 years or with the same person for more than 10 years, like I really like the just subtle, mundane aspects of marriage that they show. And then I think the wife is feeling it a little more than the husband, and the husband's looking at this trip as like a romantic reconnection possibility, and the wife is just kind of not. So she gets injured on an excursion and finds a flip phone and puts it in her pocket for some reason. She could tell it's like really old. Obviously, it's not I don't know who uses a flip phone, but it's not a new flip phone. It's from a long time ago. And
Tom
she goes
Girardi.
yeah, exactly. And it's Tom's. It's from when he flipped over in 3 times and landed in Mexico. And she brings it to a store, takes the SIM card out, finds like a comparable phone and puts the SIM card in. And she opens it up and starts, unbeknownst to her husband, going through these old text messages and photos and basically figures out that a mystery happened at this resort 15 years prior. But eventually the husband finds out, and then it kind of ends up being, it draws them both in. So now they're on this kind of like investigation together. So they're reconnecting through this unexpected way. And it's very like, I'm just thinking about it as like White Lotus meets Dead to Me is kind of the feeling.
Okay.
In that I
like
super
it.
duper like it. Yeah.
It's the girl from Made for Love. She's like really pretty, has pretty large eyes.
Very pretty, very large eyes. If you say she was in, yes, which is the show you recommended that I tried a couple times and I
It's
couldn't
okay.
quite get
The
into.
second season, I've given up.
It is her, and she's quite watchable. And I really didn't know who played her husband, William Jackson Harper. He is known for, he's on The Good Place. He was very familiar, but I don't watch The Good Place. So everybody who loves that show will love this guy. And I'm really loving him on this. So the couple's like super duper watchable and cute. So yeah.
I love that idea though. That's a great concept for a show.
It's a great premise. And and so the show is like told at different points of view in different time periods. So they're unfolding the story through actually going to those characters in 2007. So it's really fun. I like it a lot.
Oh, that's cool.
How about you?
I like that. I want to watch it. That's like my final push to watch it. Mine is really terrible. I like went through it and I told you about one of them I watched and it wasn't even great. I've been reading a lot this week and watching a lot of TikTok. That's about it. But I did watch one thing. You won't watch it, and that's fine. You don't need to watch it. Okay. In a nice way. Fiancé.
Okay.
United Kingdom.
Okay.
90 days.
Oh. So like my 90 Day Fiancé England edition? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
UK edition.
So, I mean, what is there to say? There's all the normal couples that should not probably be together. There's like one very, very sweet couple with the girl from England and the fiance from Mexico. And they're so cute and just absolutely fully in love. And they're trying to decide if they want to live in the UK or live in Mexico. Then there's like a garbage trash man who like not as an occupation, as a human. And he is horrible.
It's like long live the trash man. I love it.
No. Nope. He is trying to marry this woman from the Philippines. He says that none of the UK women are good enough and she's the only woman that he would marry and she wants to just take care of him. These are all his words.
What a gem.
He is the worst and I want to punch him every time I see him come on camera. So there's nothing really exciting except if you like 90 Day Fiancé, if you like old 90 Day Fiancé, it's great because there's none of these couples that are repeats that you see a lot.
Right.
It's all brand new people. And it is funny how the UK how the editing is different and stuff and how it's filmed differently. The US, you'll watch one episode and it'll be like, will they make their flight? And then it like goes to commercial. Oh my gosh, are they going to make their flight? And then they come. And now it's like, are they going to make their flight? They're here. There's just no... It's
it
like
is
not
so interesting.
nonsense.
Yeah.
It is really interesting.
I love
how
those
like,
differences. Yeah.
Yeah. It's
fascinating.
It's pretty neat. But sometimes it jumps around a lot where I'm like, I feel like we should have been spending so much more time with this person's family, but it wasn't necessary. So I mean, that isn't really that important, but just I'm thinking in the way the American version is and how we would like beat a dead horse with, talking to one person and they're just like have coffee and they're out of there. Oh, there's one girl who's very nice. The guy she's with is from Asia. I can't remember exactly where he's from, but he's just lying to her constantly. He was married when they met. She was like, I don't think this is good. And he's like, well, no, I was divorced. She's like, no, you were separated. He's like, in Japan, it's divorced. She's like,
I was just
really?
gaslighting her with like
100%.
laws of his country. Unbelievable.
100%. He'll be like,
gosh.
you see this? This says divorce. She's like, I don't read Japanese. I don't know that. But she's so sweet. And she smiled, like one of those people that smiles in uncomfortable situations. So she's like, I feel like you're lying to me a lot. You're lying a lot. I'm just like, please run. So anyway, if you're looking for a new 90-day iteration, I'm enjoying that one.
Oh, I'm sure our listeners are, because I see threads with you and listeners about it. And I'm always like, I don't know, but it's okay.
No. Yeah, no, don't start now. If you've felt released from this, don't do it.
I'm free. I'm liberated. That's good though. And speaking, we talked about this, so it's not like our pick, but I started selling the OC, which is like the spinoff of Selling Sunset, and boy, is it bad. And there is a little bit of that too, just from the LA to OC, like the different way it's shot and just the different style. And obviously director and producer, I would imagine, are different. Maybe not. I'm not sure who's behind it, but it's so bad. And I want to know if anyone that listens to this is watching it and what people think.
Are they still trying to make the Oppenheimer twins a thing?
Oh yeah, they're all in there in the OC. And I will say, I know we now can separate, we can identify Brett and Jason,
mm-hmm.
but I've been watching this so background that I don't know which one is which currently, because I'm not watching closely enough. You have to watch pretty closely to know. I feel like only one of them is going there more than the other, but he's cursing all the time. I feel like that's his thing in the OC, is that he's just got this like sailor mouth, like he's so cool and he's from LA. And so he's like saying like the F word a lot. And like, I don't know, there's like a different, like he feels superior to them and it's very obvious. And I just like, it makes me cringe, but I also kind of am enjoying how sad it is. Lots of eye candy. This is a men and women office, so it's not just a bunch of women. It's a bunch of very good-looking men.
We can objectify everyone.
Yes,
now.
Equal opportunity objectification. And my husband came in and he's like, "Are you going to keep watching? Because I'll just leave." Like he can't be around any of these shows. And then I was like, "Can you just appreciate like this cast?" And he was like, "Yeah, there's a lot of good-looking people in that room, like the women and the men. Like they were all just." I'm like, let's just keep it on the background. We'll turn the volume down.
Right.
But
it's like not important.
It is not
what's
good.
Happening. Mm-mm. No,
it is not good.
I appreciate you giving that that non-recommendation because.
Well,
but I never even made it through the last.
Like I don't think it's. I don't judge you for watching it, anyone, because I'm there for the real estate, the beautiful scenery, and it's the ocean. It's Orange County, so it's all oceanfront houses. It's gorgeous. It's fun because it's so produced and you can tell there's these scenes where there's like have this conflict, you guys.
Right.
But they're not. If you think Selling Sunset is trying too hard or aren't good actors, these are like people who couldn't make it to LA. They're in Orange County. So they're worse. Sorry, is this too mean?
It was just a lot of things and it kept getting meaner and meaner and I loved it.
It's just like they're like, maybe Selling Sunset are like acting class dropouts. These guys didn't get into acting class.
Yeah. They like went to the preview lesson and they were not invited back.
Yeah, they are not Barry. Okay.
Yeah.
They don't have the X factor.
I miss Barry every day. I flew through all 3 seasons and I just miss it.
Yeah, I'm gonna go back to Barry, but yeah, it is what it is. Selling the OC.
All right, Rebekah, and do you have clues for the next episode? Because I can't wait to release this to you.
I'm very curious if you'll get this. They are Bentley, MALIBU, Caffeine.
Bentley, MALIBU, Caffeine.
Yeah.
My brain is literally fried. I have no idea. Bentley, MALIBU, Caffeine.
Yeah.
Bentley makes me think Teen Mom, and I know that's not it because now we have Malibu right next to it.
Right, because didn't one of them have a kid named Bentley?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Bentley.
Yeah, she was like a strawberry blonde. I can totally picture her.
Kyle, that boyfriend that went away.
Yes.
Okay, I don't know, but I'm very excited.
I'm excited too. I'm excited to stump you, and I've been enjoying the research on this one. It'll be fun.
Oh, good. I'm glad. Well, that sounds great. In the meantime, Rebekah, where can people catch you?
So Dialogue, as you know, has been on a long summer hiatus, but it is wrapping up with new episodes coming later this month. I'm also going to the Obsessed Fest to do true crime trivia, so I'm very excited about that. So yeah, look for Dialogue back in the feeds on Wednesdays in mid-September. And Melissa, you and your co-host Mandy can be found every Tuesday on Moms and Murder, right?
Every Tuesday, Moms and Murder. Every Tuesday. Yeah, we are there. And a couple of really good episodes coming up. I told Rebekah we're doing something with an unsolved case that's currently going on. That's our first time doing that. I want to do a good job with it. I'm feeling a lot of pressure,
of
but
course,
I think it's
you guys
an
are going
important
to
story. So.
Yeah. No, I think that's so worthwhile. That's exciting.
Yeah.
Good. Well,
That's it, Rebekah.
yeah, same here. Let's just do this again. Same time, same place, 2 weeks. Thanks everybody for listening. You can follow us on Instagram at criminalityshow and TikTok, where Melissa continues to blow my mind.
I'm just learning. I can't figure it out and can't edit worth crap, but just be patient. I'll figure it out eventually.
You're doing great. You're doing amazing, sweetie. Thanks, everybody.
Bye. Thank you for listening to Criminality. If you're enjoying the show, please head over to Apple Podcast or wherever you listen and give the show a rating and review. The reality is it would be a crime to keep your thoughts to yourself.
And come join the fun outside of the podcast and follow us on social media. We are at Criminality Show on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Memes are welcome. We'll see you in 2 weeks with a new episode. Until then, you can catch my co-host Melissa on her weekly show, Moms and Murder.
And Rebekah Sebastian on her podcast, Dialogue, a true crime conversation. Don't forget, loving reality
isn't a crime.